Alright guys, we're gonna do one more, because I couldn't resist. Earlier this week, Dungeons & Dragons kicks off 2021 with its first wheelchair-accessible dungeon. Read that again, and by the way, I've already posted this online, and the comments have been absolute fucking gold. Thank you, based role players, for calling out the shenanigans of this bullshit. Candlekeep Mysteries include 17 adventures from 19 different designers, because one designer per adventure is simply too much to fucking ask from these retards. And I mean fucking retards. The next Dungeons & Dragons book, published by Wizards of the Coast, will include the franchise's first official adventure that is wheelchair accessible. Okay, we need to have a talk about this wheelchair accessible dungeon, because it's cringe. It's cringe because of all the things that a big bad evil guy would do after securing his treasure hoard and objects of worth, the first thing he's going to do is, make it accessible to the impaired adventurer. And I mean, the comments on here were absolutely based. I mean, the amount of people commenting, yes, because the big bad evil overlord gives a shit about, because there were actually retards in the comments saying, well, he wants it accessible for his minions. What big bad evil overlord gives a shit about diversity in his hiring so that he would have to put in, wheelchair accessible? No, just no. But this brings up another topic for me, because earlier, D&D released a standardized wheelchair item for starter players. Cringe. And I'm still against this. I don't like it, because who is the piece of shit dungeon master who is going to say to his GIMP player, to the person in the wheelchair in real life, and say, no, this is fantasy. You're not allowed to create a functional, non-abled, you're not allowed to create an able-bodied person in this fantasy game. No. You must relive your disability in a fantasy game. You must relive being a disabled GIMP in the fantasy game because of tolerance and diversity. Suck the dick, bigot. Now, for those of you who don't know, who think that this is, hyperbole, I have disabled family. My mother's in a fucking wheelchair, okay? And even she, upon hearing this nonsense, said, who the fuck would do this? And you know what? Role players and gamers are the best. We are the absolute best at saying, you know what? I'm going to take this disabilities to give me a boon elsewhere. And the most common trope for the disability / badassery combination is like the Daredevil combo. You give up your sight for echolocation and blind fighting. And on that same vein, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised whatsoever if there was a character who said, you know what, I'm going to trade the use of my legs for some badass crutch action. Make me a fucking monk and let me shoot out chi with my fucking crutches. Fuck this wheelchair bullshit. I'm going to be flying through the air. Because that's what players would do. But no. They had to pander to the disabled in a fantasy game for literally no fucking reason. And another one of the comments that I loved was, why would you take a wheelchair when you could take a spider-legged chair? And don't get me wrong, for those of you doubting, look, in many a game, there have been many injuries and many bullshit shenanigans going on, to the point that the artificer of the group has said, you know what, my teammate has had his limbs taken, his lower limbs taken off. We're going to make him a badass accessory. We're going to make him the most badass wheelchair, combat ready bullshit you've ever heard of. You know what? It's not going to be a wheelchair. Fuck it. We're just going to drop him in a fucking tank and just let him at the enemy. This is solving these kind of problems in game and making the character better than they were before is what gamers do. It's what we, really live and we live for this. We live for solving problems through ingenious means, because at the end of the day, you're just rolling dice to pass a check. And any equipment that you use to exemplify that check, or to nerf that check, or to min-max that check is what is your goal. You're crunching numbers. And your excuse is this item in the game that allows you the ability to do that. All this has done is incentivize GMs to take normal people who are disabled, who want to live in a fantasy world, go back to being a disabled gimp in a fantasy game and say, hey, by the way, now you get the starting item where you're essentially Meals on Wheels for the dragon goes flying by. Good luck, fucker. Oh, and by the way, we're going to play through this special dungeon crawl where, for contrivance only, the big bad evil guy decided to make his dungeon wheelchair accessible. Because that's totally realistic, and you're totally going to have fun doing it. Yeah, fuck this shit. This is an insult to gamers, it's an insult to roleplay, it's an insult to everything we love about Dungeons & Dragons. They have taken people who would have normally enjoyed the game, forced them to relive the hell of being disabled, and told them, yeah, now you're just getting a basic starter item where you're essentially Meals on Wheels for whatever fly-over-ahead monstrosity is about to encounter your party. That's it, guys. Stay carnal and God bless.